Hey, welcome into Rob Wright's Gen X Pop Culture. And tonight we are continuing Transformers week by going over season 2 of Transformers. We're not going to be able to hit every episode because there's 49 episodes in season 2, but we're going to cover most of them kind of in groups. And the cool thing is I'll be able to show you what the G1 figures looked like from back in the day when we were kids. And then I will show you my masterpiece representation for a lot of the characters. I think I've got most of season 2 covered. There are a couple of groups that I still need characters for, but they're on their way. It should be pretty soon. So it'll be a lot of fun. So tonight we're heading back to the 1980s and returning to the original world of the Transformers as we take a deep dive into Transformers Generation Season 2. Now, just to remind you from last night, we covered season 1, and season 1 introduced us to Optimus Prime, Megatron, the Autobots, the Decepticons, and the never-ending battle for energy. Season 2 took that foundation and built a whole universe around it. We received new Autobots, new Decepticons. Never explained how they got there, but that's another story. New teams, new combiners, because I love combiners. More stories set on Cybertron, and important episodes that redefined the history of the Transformers and redefined Optimus Prime, as well as the war itself. And it has some of my favorite episodes. One of my all-time favorites is in this. I would rank it number 1 out of all the Transformer episodes. We'll talk about it tonight. Rather than reviewing every episode in strict broadcast order, we're organizing tonight's discussion around major characters and teams. As we talk about the episodes, I'll also show pictures of the 80s toys, as I mentioned. Then I'll bring my masterpiece figures out so we can compare the cartoon, the toy, and the modern collection figure. It should be a fun show. So buckle your seatbelts as we dive into episode 2 on Rob Wright's Gen X Pop Culture. All right, folks. So season 2 expanded the number of Transformers appearing in the cartoon. The original cast remained important, but the writers now had many more characters available for individual stories. And let me bring up some of my slides and get my ugly mug off of this. So, as I mentioned in my title slide, season 2 is huge, especially with combiners and huge toys. So we had a lot of cool episodes, and we were introduced to a lot of great characters here. Want to welcome some people in here. Johnny Frajole, Angular Spanish, welcome. Glad you guys were in here. Comic Relief Crusader was here as well. Howdy, glad you guys are here. Glad you could go on this journey with me. There's a poll question up. What your favorite Transformer season is? So be sure to answer that. And then also, I pinned a comment. What was your favorite Transformer from season 2? Did you have a favorite that was introduced in season 2? So some of the Autobots that were introduced is Trax, Smokescreen, Red Alert, Inferno, Grapple, Hoist, Powerglide, Seaspray, Beachcomber, Cosmos, Warpath, Perceptor, and Blaster. So you got some of those guys, and we see some of them right here along with the Dinobots. Of course, you got a Mega Supreme, the expanded Minibots line. You got Blaster, Perceptor, there's Prime again. And I didn't have enough room for all of them, but you can see a few of the newer Carbots. And of course, there's Alpha Trion, who is really cool and is part of the lore. But this is the season 1 Autobots. Yeah, you've got, we'll talk about the female Autobots. You've got the Projectibots, the Aerialbots, Omega Supreme are the big ones. But yeah, you've got all these guys and these new characters. A lot of cool stuff. Then we got the Decepticons. Had the Stunticons, the Combaticons, but you also had Triple Changers, who were introduced. The Triple Changers, Astrotrain and Blitzwing, and then you had what we collectively call the Coneheads. We had 3 more jets: Ramjet, Dirge, and Thrust. were in there. And then they include Nightbird as a Decepticon, even though she was made by humans. And Buzzsaw didn't make his appearance, even though he was an original character and actually came with Soundwave and Toy. He didn't make his appearance until season 2. But season 2 gave us supporting characters the chance to carry entire episodes. Trax could have an adventure in New York City. Red Alert could experience a psychological breakdown. Beachcomber could discover a natural paradise and be horrified when it was destroyed. Powerglide and Seaspray would have even romantic stories, which were kind of cheesy. Some episodes were serious, some were emotional, some expanded the mythology. Others were wonderfully strange. The variety is a majority of the charm of season 2. We're going to begin with the most popular groups, and I showed them last night. We're going to talk about the Dinobots and some of their stuff. And this is my masterpiece, Dinobots, the robot forms. I've got only 3 of the Gigapower ones that I keep in Dino mode. Just not going to show them. It's too much to bring out. I've got so many Transformers I'm bringing out for these episodes. To give you another run of Dinobots would be a little bit difficult. So there's my shelf with my Dinobots on there. They were always some of the coolest characters, and I'm glad we got more episodes with them. I want to welcome Jillian Michael and 3V here. Yep, it's the love of G1 Retros. Lombardi 1969's here. Don Smith is here. Glad all you guys could make it. Welcome in. Be sure to like, subscribe, share the channel out as we talk about all the fun of Season 2 Transformers. So you had a couple of episodes with Dinobots. You know, the thing about the Dinobots is they were their own team, and Grimlock was their leader, and a lot of times they would defy Optimus Prime's orders. Grimlock often acted as though the Dinobots were separate forces rather than part of the Autobot team, and the tension kind of made him interesting. If I ever get around to doing the comic book, I'm going to do that completely separate because the comics are so unique, and they followed a different path that was really cool. There's a point in the comic books where Grimlock actually became the overall leader of the Autobots, and it was kind of cool. One of the episodes is a 2-parter. It's called Dinobot Island. So Dinobot Island, Dinobots discover an island filled with living dinosaurs from prehistoric creations. The episode gave us a wonderful combination of transforming robots, dinosaurs, and real-time chaos. Basically, Optimus Prime sent the Autobots or the Dinobots there to train on Dinobot Island. The Decepticons really discover the island, and basically they attempt to exploit the island's energy, and that causes ripple time effects across the planet, where you have woolly mammoths and people on there. You had a group of cowboys that fight against a biker gang. Kind of cool stuff. So it gave the Dinobots a world where they felt safe, where they belonged, but it also was treacherous. Megatron used the real dinosaurs to try and push them in a tar pit, which they escaped. And then Grimlock uses the real dinosaurs on the island to help defeat the Decepticons. Really cool. Dinobot Island is a really cool one. I really like that episode. The next one was the Desertion of the Dinobots. The Dinobots kind of got sick of Optimus Prime and all the Autobots, and they felt like they were, carrying too much of a load. They were always bailing them out. And the Transformers across the board in this episode, both Autobots and Decepticons began malfunctioning. And so the Dinobots were the only ones, since they were built on Earth, who were not malfunctioning. So they had to go to Cybertron to try and get a source of energy called Cybertronium to save everybody. And Decepticons were already manufacturing it. The Dinobots, except Swoop, got captured. Spike and Carly try and go there. And they run into Swoop, and with Swoop's help, they end up getting captured and then freeing the Dinobots, and the Dinobots end up bringing the Transformium back to the Transformers. So it's pretty cool. It was pretty awesome. Good episode. It shows that, Grimlock can make rational decisions when he wants to. So let's see. Omega Supreme was always a favorite of mine. Yes, Omega Supreme is one of my favorites. I had him as a kid. I have the Masterpiece in there. I'll show the Masterpiece. He's huge. He's hefty. But yeah, we'll talk about Omega Supreme versus the Constructicons. That's definitely on the list. It's one of my favorite episodes. The Secret of Omega Supreme is one of my all-time uh, favorites. Wait, why no mention of Unicron yet? Not yet. We're in season 2. So what's going to happen is we're doing season 2 tonight. Thursday night, we're going to do season 3 and season 4. And then on Saturday, because Saturday is actually the official 40th anniversary of Transformers the movie, that's when we're going to do Transformers the movie on Saturday afternoon. It's the official 40th anniversary because it came out on August 8th, 1986. And I've got a load of stuff for you about the movie. The movie, I know a lot of the cutscenes. I know some characters that were supposed to be in it. There's a cool story of a train robot snake that was supposed to be in it. I've got some of our favorite characters and where they were supposed to appear that got cut out. I also love the soundtrack. We'll tell you my thoughts and feelings about the soundtrack and tell you how I felt about it when I saw it in the movie theater with my friends. So yeah, just stay tuned for that. That's coming up on Saturday because it's the 40th anniversary of it. So we're going through all these seasons to celebrate it. So it's pretty cool. All right. So, we had the Dinobots and I showed them to you last night. So I'm not going to go back and show those again. If you want to see the Dinobots, go watch last night's episode after this one. It was a lot of fun. We talked about the Dinobots and how important they were. We showed their G1 figures. And we also showed them a masterpiece in greater detail. I showed you a picture earlier. If you want to see the picture earlier, I'll show you that again. There you go. That's my collection of Dinobots. They're back up on the shelf tonight. Even though Snarl and Grimlock kept dropping their weapons. But they're back up there. But that's a picture of them. Pretty cool figures. Like them. They take forever to transform, though. So, all right. So, was there a Dinobot that was your favorite? Did you have a favorite Dinobot that you liked? Personally, I like Grimlock. I had him as a kid. He was one of my favorites. Yep, that's why no mention of Unicron. Not yet, not till the movie. Yeah, which one was your favorite? Did you guys have a favorite? I think my second favorite was Snarl, just because I thought he was cool as a Stegosaurus, but they're all pretty cool. All right, so let's get into the new Autobot cars. So one of the biggest strengths of Season 2 was the addition of new Autobot cars. Many shared design ideas or vehicle modes with existing toys, but the cartoon gave them unique personalities. So you had Smokescreen, who's down here in the far left, and Smokescreen was actually the same mold as Prowl and Bluestreak. They're called the Dotson brothers. There's going to be a fan stories release of him soon. You have Red Alert and Inferno. Inferno was a new vehicle. He was a fire truck, and then Inferno was a fire chief, but he's a mold made of Sideswipe. He's a Lamborghini. Now, how many of you guys thought it was kind of ridiculous that there was a fire chief with a Lamborghini Countach? Granted, it would get you to the fire faster, but I don't know why you would have such an expensive car for that. It's interesting stuff. Lombardi 1969, if I recall correctly, Elita One showed up in season 2. Yes, she did. We'll talk about her. Wes Cagle says, I remember watching this when I was a high schooler. Yeah, I was in elementary and junior high. Andrew Spendy teams. That's why Elita One episodes hit different. Yeah, it did. Elita One's kind of cool. It's interesting. We also are introduced to the prior form of Elita One, and we'll talk about her too. All right. So the other ones that were introduced, you got Trax, who tunes both into a Corvette, and he has wings so you can fly. He was almost like a triple changer. You have Hoist and Grapple right here. Grapple is the master builder, and he's a crane. Hoist is a mold made of Trailbreaker, and he is basically a tow truck. And then you have Skids up here, who is a van. He barely appeared in the cartoon. He has a more prominent role in the comics. If we ever get to that, he has an interesting showdown with Megatron. I had him as a kid. My brother and I did. He was okay, but I don't have a masterpiece of that one. But we'll get into the ones I do have. So let's get into another episode here. The Master Builder. So Grapple was a Master Builder. And in this episode, he comes up with this energy conductor that basically takes solar energy and converts it from the sun. And Prime says, no, don't build it, because if you build it, the Decepticons will come calling. Well, he and Hoist kind of decide to go up on their own, and they're confronted by the Constructicons. The Constructicons say, hey, we left Megatron. We want to work with you. We'll help you build this. And basically, Grapple works with the Constructicons to build it, and the Constructicons betray him, and they take over the energy thing. And so Optimus Prime and the Autobots are forced to fight, and basically they end up destroying the whole thing, which is, sad, but still, it's an interesting episode. And here are the toys of Hoist and Grapple. And before we get to Red Alert and Inferno, let me do this. Let me go out and bring my masterpiece, Grapple and Hoist, for you guys. So. Thank you, new Y10. This stream goes hard. Thank you. LaShawn, yes, Elita One hit different. Mariel W9X, it introduced so many new teams. That's why. Yeah, that's why it's great. West Kegel says, Jazz was my favorite Autobot. Scatman Crothers is the man. Always will be the voice of Jazz. I agree. Jazz is great. I had him both as a kid, and I love that. Constructicons were elite. Charlie says that. Matthew says Perceptor was a sleeper pick for sure. Ramon says, wonder if they're going to talk about Blaster's voice actor. We'll talk about Blaster, but not his voice actor. I don't know his voice actor as much. Ramon, if you want to give me some information about Blaster's voice actor, I'd be happy to read it on the stream. That's a great comment and a great thought. If you got thoughts, please share it in the stream. I'd be happy to talk about him. I know a lot about Transformers, but I don't know everything. So if you want to share information or share thoughts, please feel free to share them in the stream. I'd be happy to read them and talk about them. I just love discussion. I love Transformers, and I hope you guys are as passionate as I about Transformers, and just enjoy talking about them and sharing them. So let me go get Hoist and Grapple. Give me one sec. Okay. And here's my masterpiece, Hoist. And we'll get back on mine. Pretty cool figure, pretty solid. A little kibbly. His arms are a little bit too high. But yeah, he comes with, you can swap out this gun for a fist. This is the Fans Tours release. I did have the Takara release as well, and then I think X-Transbots got their release out not too long ago. It's pretty cool. Yeah, he's a rather cool figure. He was one that could also assist Ratchet and Wheeljack in repairs. That's what he was good at. Here's kind of him from the back. Yep, and as you can see, he's got kind of the same thing up top is Trailbreaker, because he's a mold made of Trailbreaker. He turns into kind of the same car, except he's more of a tow truck. So, pretty cool. And then my masterpiece, Grapple. Let's bring him out here. And Grapple turns into a crane. This is the official Takara masterpiece one. That's what he looks like. By the way, he is in the movie. I'll talk about him on Saturday. And let you know where he is in the movie. Clings up real well from the back. Turns into a big crane. Kind of the engineer of the group. He's very particular about building things. The interesting thing about this is you had some really unique personalities, and Grapple has a unique personality. He's such a perfectionist, and it shows in the cartoon. There are different faces for him that I could use, but I think this one matches the cartoon a little bit better. And I'll bring back the cartoon slides back up. So, wasn't tight. I think that the face matches the cartoon. And then voice matches the cartoon really well as well. So those are those two guys. All right, let me put them up and then we'll move on. We'll talk about Inferno and Red Alert. I'll go ahead and grab them so we don't have to get up as much. So tonight I have to put them all like back over here because I don't have enough room behind me. And it's just awesome. Carmen, yes, we're going to cover the Aerialbots. Oh boy, I've got all the Aerialbots. I've got all the Stunticons. So don't you worry, we're going to cover the Aerialbots. The Aerialbots are some of my favorite characters. Okay, so another episode that was key to introducing us to a new Transformer for the season was Auto Berserk, and basically they created the Autobots kind of create kind of an energy-driven weapon. It's supposed to be a tool for refueling and re-energizing things, I think, and basically Red Alert is responsible for building it and driving it. And basically he'd been overworked, and in this episode he just kind of goes crazy. He thinks the Autobots have betrayed him, and then he gets manipulated by Starscream to steal it, and they steal it, and all heck breaks loose. Finally he gets hit the blaster and comes to his senses, and the vehicle gets destroyed, and Inferno, who his partner, because he's the fire chief and Inferno is the fire truck, saves him. And it's a cool episode. It introduces both of these characters. They're both pretty cool. Kind of see kind of the cartoon here. They both were kind of the characters that would respond to emergencies. They're a little bit different than the Protectobots. There are Protectobots that also respond to emergencies later on. But these guys fought along the Autobots and did quite a few things. Also, Red Alert was in charge of security, so pretty cool. I still don't understand why a fire chief would need a Lamborghini Countach. That always baffled me. What do you guys think? You know, I always thought it was weird. But yeah, here's kind of what they look like. If you look like the toys, Grapple and Inferno shared a mold made. And then Red Alert shares it with Sideswipe. And then here's Starscream manipulating Red Alerts. There's Inferno with Ironhide and Powerglide. And here are their masterpiece incarnations. We'll bring up Red first. So here we go, Red Alert here. You could also make changes to them and put the it has a thing where you could do the spiky thing, different colors showing that him going crazy. This is the Takara version, and Fans Toys is coming out with a new one. So he should come out. The new one should come out like in a couple of months, and I'm gonna replace him with the new one. But he's pretty cool character. Looks pretty cool with his Lambo. And there's kind of his back. Has a red gun, fitting for Red Alert. So, and then Inferno is right here. And this is the masterpiece Inferno. I haven't seen him yet on any other third-party figures. I wonder if they're waiting to do him later on. Probably we'll do Grapple and Inferno in the same time. Cool thing about him, he's got like hoses and stuff, and turns into a fire truck. Pretty cool transformer here. So anyway, so the comparison with these two to their toys and the cartoons. All right, let me put these guys up really quick and we'll get back at it. So, yeah, Red Alert was always panicking. Okay. So, Smokescreen is another one that we get to see. And so there's an episode, season 2. Wow. Season 2 just went to all different worlds and all different kind of things. So there's an episode in season 2 which is strange. We'll talk about it later, but basically Autobots and Decepticons end up taking some kind of beam that takes them to an alien planet where the aliens are much bigger than the Autobots, and it's a little kid basically playing with toys. And the Decepticons are able to escape, and the kid gets the toy shuttle, and the Autobots use it to go home. And on the way home, their shuttle gets shot down, and all the Autobots get captured except Smokescreen, and Smokescreen kind of has to pay the price to try and rescue his friends. And we've got this episode, The Gambler. And he meets a gambler guy who teaches him how to gamble. Smokescreen has a little thing in his arm that he uses to go up against the slots and basically cheat. And so he's able to earn money to try and save his friends. And he also meets another Autobot who we only see him once. He's kind of he's kind of one of those guys that's kind of a bounty hunter. And it's interesting to see him in this episode. He never comes back. And I'm just like, wow, you introduced a new Autobot and we don't get a toy from him or anything. So it was interesting. Smokescreen's interesting because, deception's part of his function. He creates smoke screens to hide himself. He's pretty cool. He takes risks, and he's a very interesting character. He uses it as a diversionary tactic. I like that, Prowl and Blue Streak's guns are further back, and his are right up against his head. Those are cool. That makes him a little bit different, but he's the same mold of Dotson. And this is what he looks like in toy and a cartoon. He's pretty cool cartoon and cool toy, but that's what he looked like. And let me bring him out, and we'll also talk about tracks, and I'll bring him out as well. So here is Smokescreen. And Fancy Toys is going to release a new version of him. This is the Takara. But it looks a lot like the cartoon. And there's him from the back. It's kind of cool mold. Very cool character. And then you can see kind of on the back bumper right here, there's a smokestack. And yeah, I think he comes with a smokestack that you could add to the back if you have him in car mode, which is cool. But he's featured prominently throughout season 2. He's a good character. I like him. He does a lot of stuff. Yeah. Dinobots always carried the show. Yeah, Dinobots were great. We talked about them earlier, so if you want to rewind the stream, Dinobots. But yeah, that's Smokescreen, and here's what Smokescreen again looks like with compared to the toy and compared to the cartoon. So I think the Masterpiece did a good job of really getting as close to the cartoon as possible. That's Smokescreen for you. Okay, next character we're going to talk about is Trax. Trax had a couple of episodes. One of the main ones was Make Trax. So Trax is unique because he's kind of a snob. He's vain, he's proud, he's deeply concerned about his appearance. He loves his vehicle mode and does not like to be damaged. However, he's brave and loyal. Make Trax pairs him with the human Raoul. Actually, Trax likes to be in the city, and he likes humans and city life a lot better than being around his Autobots, because it gives him a chance to stay in his car mode, which he loves. The unique thing about him is that he can actually fly in car mode, and you see on the bottom right there where he spreads wings and a flying Corvette. Now, if you saw a flying Corvette, you'd freak out. I would too. Only in Transformers could they do it that way. Anyway, Make Trax pairs him with Raoul, and it gives him a story set in New York. It's about stealing cars. Raoul is a car thief, and they uncover the Decepticons who are stealing cars. And basically, they inform the Autobots and bust it up. And the original Trax toys had one of the most memorable vehicle modes in the line. It made him unique. But yeah, this is Trax. He appears in several episodes. He's actually in the movie, and there's an episode with him in the movie that was cut that I'll talk about on Saturday. But yeah, this is him. This is kind of the car mode, the airplane mode, the robot. This is the original G1 character. And here is the Masterpiece version of Trax. And to be honest with you, this is the Takara one, and it's honestly one of the weaker ones. It doesn't have a lot of die cast in it. It's a lot of flimsy plastic. And it's a little bit floppy and a little bit hollow. That's one of their earlier molds. Now, there's another third-party company that had put out a new Trax. I may have to upgrade, but I'm waiting to see, if X Transbots or Fans Toys or one of the bigger companies does it, because I trust them a little bit more with it. I do like the paint on his face, and then you get a little bit of the blue eyes. I thought that was really cool. And he looks okay on the shelf. He's just real flimsy and hollow and, not that Masterpiece quality. Stunticons were iconic. Changed my mind. Nope, I don't know that we'll change your mind, because the Stunticons are iconic, and I love the Stunticons. Those guys in the Aerialbots. So there's another comparison of Trax and compare him to his cartoon. So they got a lot right with him. So let me go put these guys up real quick. Okay, so another infamous episode that involves a lot of these guys, which is perfect for some of the personalities here, because Sunstreaker and Trax are in it, and they both kind of have the same vein personality, where they're very concerned about their car modes. But Hoist, basically, they go to Hollywood and they're involved in movie production, because like the Decepticons were involved in that. And so all these guys get to play giant alien robots, and they put on their masks and actually film a movie, which is interesting. So it was a lot of fun. It was funny, goofy, and the Masterpiece figures now all come with these alien masks. I didn't bring them out because I'd have to dig into my boxes for them, because I don't have them displayed. But all the Transformers that I have, their Masterpiece, have the alien mask with them. So it's kind of cool nod to that episode. So Another person that would team up with Trax is Blaster. Blaster sometimes teamed up with Trax to do city stuff. Season 2 gave us episodes that strongly reflected 80s culture. Trax and Blaster worked together sometimes in the city. Blaster was the Autobot counterpart to Soundwave. Soundwave was cold and controlled and loyal to Megatron. Blaster was energetic, outgoing, and closely connected to human music and youth culture. He and Jazz kind of shared their love for humans' music. In Blaster Blues, Blaster love of music becomes central to the story. And probably the craziest and probably worst episode of season 2, it's debatable between this one and Bot, Autobot. The Decepticons use music and mind control as a larger pot, and Blaster has to fight Soundwave. It's the only time they fight in the G1 cartoon. Now, in the Japanese Headmasters version, which I may cover at some point, they do fight, and it's catastrophic to them, but it's an awesome fight. The episodes feel very much like product of the 80s, music, dance clubs, street culture, technology, all become part of the conflict. And yeah, I mean, you had kind of their own created music. They didn't use, modern music. It'd be cool if they did, but yeah, Blaster was one of my favorite characters. He has a prominent role in the movie. He was really cool. He was good to introduce, and Blaster was a unique G1 figure as well. I'll talk about that in a minute, but also the comic Blaster is a little bit different. He kind of battled Grimlock for leadership of the Autobots at one point. So he was a really good character. And in the 80s, we didn't have tapes of him, but we got him in season 3. And I'll show you my season 3 tapes when we get to season 3. But yeah, here's some other parts of the episode. Here's him with Soundwave fighting. Of course, he does come. A lot of times, the masterpieces do come with those speakers that you can attach to his hand. So, he transformed into a portable stereo, connecting him with the period. Both he and Soundwave were interesting characters that you could actually put tapes in and open their stuff up. And this is him with the toy. The toy is actually pretty big, bigger than most Transformers at the time. Pretty cool toy. Didn't have him, but he was pretty cool. And let me get my masterpiece version of him. Ooh, stepped on a bug. Okay. All right. Here we go. Here's what he looks like. There we go. There's Blaster. Pretty cool. Awesome paint job. And it cleans up well and back too. Let me see if I can get the... There we go. So the tape deck opens up. Kind of cool. That button right there. So pretty cool. And he does come with tapes. I've got them all. But they are season 3 and 4 characters because they came out during the movie. So it was kind of disappointing as a kid because we're like, okay, you got Blaster, but Soundwave has tapes and he doesn't have any tapes. What gives? So they finally gave him some tapes. Pretty cool gun there. And we'll bring this back up so you can do the comparison. But yeah, he's an iconic character, and I love Blaster. I think he's really cool. There are a couple different companies that put him out. I like Fans Toys version. I've got like the Takara one, and it's okay too. But Fans Toys fits more with my shelf that has a lot of Fans Toys. So, all right, let me go put him up, and we'll get to some others. All right. So we covered the Dinobots, the new Autobot cars, music-centered city episodes. Before we move into combiners, which they're coming up next, I want to welcome everyone who joined again and joined us late. Matt Tuing, David A-Z8J, Eric Catman, Savannah Savell. Thank you guys for coming up. Seaspray had a whole alien girlfriend arc, bro. Yeah, he did. Beachcomber just wanted peace. That's real. He was a geologist. Yeah. So, I mean, tonight we're going to try and go over as many of these episodes as we can. You know, in reviewing G1, Season 2, a lot of these were iconic. And the first part of Season 2 is kind of, it has the original characters and it introduces these new characters. But then the latter part of Season 2 is my favorite part because it introduces my favorite characters in all of Transformers, the Combiners. So we're about to see the creation of the Aerialbots and the Stunticons in one of my favorite episodes, The Key to Vector Sigma, parts 1 and 2. So basically, Megatron gets the idea that, hey, the Autobots rule the road. How do we compare with them? So what they do is they steal race cars and sports cars, and he forms the Stunticons. But he has to give them life, so they have to take him to Cybertron and go to Vector Sigma. He steals the key to Vector Sigma from Alpha Trion, goes into Vector Sigma, and creates these awesome Stunticons. So the Stunticons were created. So to counter the Stunticons, Optimus Prime has the Aerialbots built out of old hangar jets that were Cybertronian jets in the hangar on Cybertron. And Alpha Trion merges with Vector Sigma as an original Transformer and gives them life, which is very interesting because it pretty much kind of shows where War Dawn was and will also come up later on in a Season 3 episode with Alpha Trion being very familiar with the Aerialbots since he helped Vector Sigma give them life. He's the key. He's the other key. And this episode was one of my favorite episodes because it introduced both of them. It also had Omega Supreme. And it's interesting. The Stunticons were awesome. Motormaster kind of challenged Optimus Prime for King of the Road. These guys could hit stuff and run into things and were just thrashers on the road. They were a cool team. Breakdown was the kind of nervous wreck Lamborghini. Drag Strip is the race car. Wild Rider is just a crazy man. Dead End didn't care about anybody or anything. The Aerialbots, which I'll rewind here. You had Silverboat, who's the leader, who was actually scared of heights. Air Raid, who's kind of hot shot. Skydive, who is kind of that way. Slingshot, who is the mouthy one. And then Fireflight, who is a little bit more logical. But they were really great characters, and they had their prominence, especially in Season 3. I love the Aerialbots and Stunticons. I wish they were in Transformers the movie. But fun fact, part of Scramble City was supposed to be part of Transformers the movie, but it never materialized. So anyway, we'll talk about the Stunticons first. I had a lot of these. I had 3 out of the 5. I had friends who had the whole set. We had Breakdown, Drag Strip, and Motormaster. We didn't have Wild Rider or Dead End. But this is what the toys looked like, and they had their gift set. And then there's Motormaster here who came with all the parts. And then this is what he looked like, and this is the correct. Well, it's still incorrect. Breakdown should be the right leg, and Wild Rider should be the left leg. But anyway, this is what they looked like back in the day. And then here's the cartoon version of them with the Stunticons. And let me, without further ado, are you guys ready to see some Stunticons? Let's show you some Stunticons here. Hang on one sec. All right, got to grab 2 more of the team. Okay. All right. And the cool thing about the Aerialbots and Stunticons, they were kind of rivals, and it was so cool that you had a road-based Decepticon group because you didn't have a lot of Decepticons that turned into road-based vehicles, and you didn't have any Autobots that turned into planes. So it's kind of interesting. But we're gonna introduce all the Stunticons and go over them, and then I'll bring out Menasor as well. But let's go into this. First one we'll introduce is Motormaster, and he is the leader of the Stunticons, and he is probably, this one from Fans Toys is probably one of the best third-party Transformers ever made. He's actually very hefty. Look at all the paint job is phenomenal. He looks gorgeous, and the cool thing about him, see that backpack? So instead of it splitting off and him being just the truck with the trailer separate, he forms the trailer along with the truck, the whole thing. It's pretty awesome. There's another trailer that forms Menasor that comes with Dead End, who's the last part of it. But this is Motormaster. Just all the different things. He's one of the best figures I think that they've ever created. Get a closer look. Very cool. So he's brutal, obsessed with proving he is king of the road, often challenges Optimus Prime, sometimes to very little success. And we'll talk about Masquerade coming up soon. The last one to be released, who I don't think is as strong as the other 4, is Dead End. And here's Dead End. He turns into a Porsche. He's pessimistic and convinced destruction is inevitable. He doesn't care about anybody or anything. He came with all the combiner parts. He was the last one to be released from Fans Toys. The face sculpt looks good, but he doesn't have as much die cast on him as the other one. All right, one of my favorite Stunticons that I had as a kid, who I just love his masterpiece mold. It turns into a white Lamborghini. This is Breakdown. I love the paint on this guy, the red in the eyes. He's paranoid, uncomfortable being watched. Paranoia serves him well in one of the things Masquerade, because he basically is so paranoid and so jumbly that he's able to break out of the energon bars and free everybody else. But still pretty cool. Awesome figure. Love that guy. Next is Drag Strip. He's the race car. No Rumble takes it. And he's obsessed with winning. I love the face sculpt on him. Very cool. Cool metallic. He's the right arm. It looks like from the back. Very cool figure. And the last one is Wild Rider, who turns into a Ferrari. He's reckless and delighted by chaos. His face sculpt is pretty cool. That's what it looks like from the back. Beautiful red and gray paint on this guy. So, but yeah, as a team, they're very powerful but psychologically unstable. Megatron takes them to Vector Sigma, as I mentioned, so you can give them life. And Vector Sigma itself expands the mythology of Transformers. Helps us kind of understand how they were given life. And Vector Sigma is kind of basically the tie that Cybertron has to later on Primus, who is the Transformers god that created them. Pretty cool. So, yeah, those are the Stunticons. So, we're gonna get to Minosaur in a minute because what I'll do is I will also showcase the Aerialbots, and then I'll show both Minosaur and Superion here coming up. Unless you guys want to vote and see Minosaur now. Do you want to see Minosaur now, or you want to see him after I show the Aerialbots? Let me know in the chat. All right, let me put this back up and put these guys back in the kitchen here, and then I'll start to get the Aerialbots out. But let me know if you want to see Minosaur first. So. And these masterpiece figures have die cast in them, so they're hefty bots. They're not lightweight at all. I got all the Stunticons together on one of my shelves. I've got Minosaur separately. Okay, so let me go bring the Aerialbots out. We'll talk about the Aerialbots, and then I'll do Minosaur and Superion kind of together. Since they fight each other and they're big. Because I've got a different company that I did Minosaur and a different company that I did for Superion. But I also will let you guys know that I bought so with my fans toys, they came with combiner parts, and it was too difficult to kind of combine the fans toys and too expensive to buy second fans toys on there. So what I did was I bought there's combiner parts that you could buy that were separate that you could use fans toys pieces. So I've got two versions of both Minosaur and Superion. But all right, let me go bring out the Aerialbots here real quick. We'll talk about them. Okay. So we have the Aerialbots, and we mentioned the Autobots responded by creating Silverbolt, Air Raid, Fireflight, Skydive, and Slingshot. Together they form Superion. Optimus appoints Silverbolt as leader, even though Silverbolt is afraid of heights. Optimus understands that courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is acting despite fear. again, going back to Optimus Prime's kind of John Wayne roots, where courage is being scared to death but saddling up anyway, is what John Wayne's known for saying. So these are the toys. I had this box set as a kid. My brother and I got it from our grandmother, and it was a lot of fun to play with. It was really cool. Superion is transformed incredibly wrong here. Air Raid should be the left leg. Skydive should be the right leg. Fireflight should be the right arm. And Slingshot should be the left arm. I don't know why they did that this way in there. But we had the whole set. We had this package right here. And they're really cool toys to play with. By the way, they came with ramps because they had this whole Scramble City thing with it. And it basically was designed to really connect to Metroplex. And he was supposed to be like another part of Metroplex, a ramp that connected to Metroplex. And then the Decepticon ones were supposed to connect to Tripticon. So that was kind of the idea behind them in the toy. So, and there's Superion and the Aerialbots in the cartoon mode. And let me show you each one of these. So first one, I'll bring out a Silverbolt. It's kind of what he looks like. He's a responsible leader who must overcome fear. Really cool jet. Turns into a Concorde. Air Raid is probably my favorite. He's next. He's aggressive and eager for combat. I like the paint on him. A little bit kibbly in back, of course, with the airplane parts. But still really cool. We had all of them as a kid, and he was one of my favorites. He turns into an F-15, and always kind of the badass of the group. Always eager to fight. Fireflight, curious and easily distracted. And he's kind of your F4 Phantom. And if you watch Top Gun, the original, this is kind of what they used for the MiGs, that plane. But he's a red jet. Beautiful paint on him. Skydive was thoughtful and interested in aerial tactics. He's kind of the tactician of the group. He turns into F-16. Fighting Falcon. Cool black and red color scheme. The Ravenous, yeah, hey, the Ravenous, glad you're here. And I'll show you the last Aerialbot we have is Slingshot, kind of the hot shot, the arrogant one. He's got kind of the goggles with the orange head. And there you go. That's Slingshot. Pretty cool. Superion is more focused than Menasor because the Aerialbots suppress much of their individuality when they combine. So Superion's a little bit more stable combiner. It's interesting if you go into kind of the lore of the combiners, there's a whole big thing about them. So Very cool stuff. They don't go into as much of it in the cartoons, but it's kind of cool, kind of interesting. So, all right, let me go out and let me put these guys up, and we'll bring their combined modes out. Obviously, I'm not going to combine these guys; could be too hard and it take forever. The thing about Masterpiece Transformers is they're more complex transformations, and it's sometimes they have little pieces, and it's harder to do everything you need to do for them. So, give me just a moment, and all right, back in a minute. Let me go get Minosaur and Superion. All right. So I will talk about Minosaur first. This guy's big and beefy. He is the DX9 version, where the trailer kind of converts into the body. Big robot. Huge. These guys are about 2 feet in height. Just huge. Take up a lot of shelf space. Comes with a large sword. And then comes with this gun, which is not the original gun. And actually transforms into the lightning bug that you see in one of the episodes in season 2 where Minosaur holds up the lightning bug to shoot lightning and stuff. So the gun fell out. So it's easier to keep it out of the hand rather than trying to put it back in. But as you can see, this is combined form. Big, tall robot. I mean, just huge. I mean, sitting on my knee, I mean, pretty big. And intricate design. See the carbots on the back. Sometimes they fall off. So, Minosaur is interesting. There was an interesting fight in this when Starscream had the Combaticons. The Combaticons defeated Devastator, and then kind of the Stunticons were up on top of a cliff, and they were like, "Hey, should we join the fight? Do we want Starscream to rule, or do we want to keep Megatron as the ruler?" And Dead End was like, "Who cares?" And one of the other Stunticons says, "No, Starscream's a little bit crazy." And so they decided to form Minosaur, and Minosaur beats up Bruticus. So Minosaur is one of the stronger ones. Although, I don't know the whole lore. I think in the rankings of strongest, I'm not sure who's stronger, really, who's supposed to be stronger. But Minosaur is a cool foe, and I always liked Minosaur. I always thought it was really cool. I don't have batteries, otherwise I'd do the light up feature um, on it, but I didn't buy the batteries for him. But there's Minosaur. Let me go ahead and put him away. I've got Superion right here, but it's just hard to put him anywhere. And now I've got Zeta Superion for you. Show you him. That's what he looks like. Now, I did take some of the wings off because it just got a little kibbly, and you can see how he's a little bit flimsy. The jet parts don't always want to stay folded like they should. But it's okay. He stays on the shelf like this, and you don't really see the back angle. So, Superion does come with like two heads. I go with the original G1 toy head, or the original G1 cartoon head. The toy head is an actual face. It looks a little bit different. But anyway, that's Superion. And then let me know if you want me to go get the Dance Toys versions of these two. I've got them with the kibble on the back. They're cool, but they're awfully big. They're just a little bit bigger than this one, too. So, all right, let me go put him away real quick, and we'll get back at it. All right, so another cool episode, especially with the Stunticons, was called Masquerade. And Masquerade, basically the Stunticons are stealing like a crystal and some other elements for Megatron. And basically what happens is the Autobots kind of intercept them and capture all the Stunticons. And they decide that they're going to try and find out what Megatron's trying to do. So what they do is they disguise themselves as the Stunticons. Optimus Prime disguised himself as Motormaster. Jazz is Dead End. Sideswipe is Breakdown. Mirage is Drag Strip. And then Wind Charger is Dead End. And they go to Megatron, and they have him fooled until they're asked to combine. And they do combine to a fake Minosaur. And then the Stunticons, like I mentioned before, Breakdown basically frees them because he's so paranoid, and he breaks the bars down. And you have Minosaur versus Minosaur, as you see kind of the middle here, which is a cool fight, and it's a lot of fun. It was great. It was kind of fun to have that as an episode, just to see that. It was really cool. It was a lot of fun. So I really love that episode. I love all the episodes with combiners. Those are kind of my favorites. Next, I'll talk about Aerial Assault. Aerial Assault gave the Aerialbots another major adventure. Basically, the Decepticons were in the Middle East, and this one actually featured the Combaticons. And, you know, it provides more time with individual members. Slingshot is still skeptical and does not automatically accept Autobots' view of the war. But then he gets captured, and he has to replace some of the parts, and meets the displaced prince, and find out the Combaticons are with Megatron and the Decepticons, and you have this battle between the Aerialbots and the Combaticons, and you end up seeing Superion versus Bruticus, like you see up here, and that was cool. That's what was fun about this, is that you can mix and match, kind of who fought who. All right, the next episode I'm going to talk about is my all-time favorite Transformers G1 episode. Some of you guys have already alluded to this one. It's War Dawn. War Dawn is my absolute -- favorite Transformers story. Basically, Megatron's on Cybertron, and basically they've got like a portal that they could go back to the past, and they hit the Aerialbots with them to send them in the past to get rid of them, because the Aerialbots are a nuisance to Megatron. And they send them back to Cybertron before the war. And the Aerialbots travel to Cybertron's past. They meet a robot named Orion Pax, his girlfriend Ariel, and Dion, which we'll debate who Dion is in a minute. Orion Pax is impressed by the flying robots who call themselves Decepticons. And he's in charge of the docks. And he shows Megatron around. Megatron tricks him and basically kind of deactivates him and Ariel and Dion. And the Aerialbots turn to Alpha Trion, an early Alpha Trion, to try and save him. And, basically the Aerialbots are convinced now that the Decepticons are evil, and now they understand it. And so Orion Pax gets rebuilt into Optimus Prime. And Optimus Prime kind of leads the new attack against the Decepticons. The Aerialbots risk themselves and get thrown back to the future and come back. And once they get back to the present, they defeat the Decepticons in the present. But now they know who Optimus Prime is. Slingshot actually has a better feel for the war, and they have greater appreciation for the Autobots, and they have more hatred for Megatron. But it became kind of the backstory of Optimus Prime as Orion Pax. Ariel was reformatted at the end to Elita One, who we're going to talk about later on, as a female Autobot, and that's pretty cool. Dion, I'm not sure who he is. There's a lot of speculation. Those of you that are Transformers fans, let me know who you think he is. Coming up here, there's speculation that he became Ironhide, because he and Optimus were older and very close. There's speculation that he might be Cup, because he did transform into a truck and was Transporter. And Cup is very old, knew a lot of other people. There's speculation that he could be Ultra Magnus, but we never got told. He could just be Dion and never got rebuilt, but it's kind of cool. So yeah, let me know in the chat what you think. Who do you think Dion is? Who'd you guys like better? Did you have a favorite combiner out of the Aerialbots and Stunticons? I liked them both. And then what do you guys think of War Dawn? It's my favorite episode. Is it yours? I rank it number 1. All right, let's talk Omega, because I know you guys want to talk about Omega Supreme, and we're talking about his relationship to the Constructicons. Folks, I got a special treat for you guys. I've got my Fans Toys Constructicons, who I didn't show last night. I've got 5 out of the 6, and actually one of them's in box. And so, because the other figure has not yet arrived, I'm expecting a figure. I was expecting him tonight, but he hasn't arrived yet. He'll arrive tomorrow, more than likely. I checked the DHL, but I hadn't had a chance to open my Mixmaster, so I'll open up Mixmaster for you guys. We'll talk about Omega Supreme here. So Omega Supreme was a unique Autobot. He's one of the larger ones. I had him in toy, And this is one of my favorite episodes of The Secret of Omega Supreme. So Omega Supreme was very important in mythology. He's one of the most powerful Autobots, but beneath his mechanical exterior is a caring character who has deep anger and sadness. So Omega Supreme is one of the Guardian robots. He was actually one of the good Guardian robots who actually guarded Crystal City, which was one of the most beautiful cities on Cybertron that was actually built by the Constructicons. He was actually friends with the Constructicons, and basically Megatron used the Robo Smasher to manipulate robots to his side. He captured the Constructicons and manipulated their mind, and then they went and fooled Omega Supreme into fighting a battle outside of Crystal City and leaving it unprotected, and then they destroyed Crystal City. Omega tries to save them and tries to reprogram them, but they can't. They lure him to a trap, and they form their unique new mold that Megatron created, Devastator. And so he fights Devastator, and the Robo Smasher tries to get Omega Supreme, but Omega Supreme is able to fight it off. And this is why he doesn't talk the way he does, because he's revenge for the Constructicons. And it's speculated that he came to Earth because he was following the Constructicons, which ironically they said rebuilt in caverns in the first season, which my explanation for it was they crash landed on Earth and were deactivated, and Megatron and the Decepticons had to reactivate them. So that's what happened. My thoughts. Anyway, this episode, Megatron is on a moon-like asteroid, and they're digging for energy, and Cosmos discovers this, and the Decepticons find this energy. They can't make it work, and then all of a sudden, a creature kind of emerges from there. It was really an egg, and Omega Supreme tells Optimus Prime about his history, as you see here, and then Omega Supreme is told to go after the Constructicons, and he has a vendetta run and fights them all over the place, not knowing that this creature was released, and the creature is about to attack San Francisco, and only Omega Supreme can put him back, since Omega kind of is the reason why he got hatched. So Omega kind of comes to his senses and realizes that it's not about revenge as much as it is saving the Earth and saving my fellow Autobots, and he's able to take the creature back up into space, where it flies off after eating the rest of its eggshell. But it was interesting. It just is an interesting character arc, and gave Omega Supreme a whole new meaning. And I always loved this character. He had a lot of parts to him. As you can see, this is what his toy looked like. Very kibbly, very hard to transform because he had so many parts. But the cool thing is motorized, and he could walk. And then the tank was motorized and would move around the track. But yeah, he was a bigger guy, one of the bigger robots, bigger than some of the combiners. And his Masterpiece one is huge. I've got him, and I'm about to go bring him out. Give me a second. I'll go bring him out. This guy's so big, he's as big as a small child. I mean, and he's hefty. But let me let you see Omega. So here's my Masterpiece Omega Supreme. This is actually the DX9 version. I liked him a little bit better than the Fans Toys, just because I like the way his hips were. Fans Toys' hips are a little bit more out, but I felt that this guy would be a little bit more stable on the shelf. And it turns out I'm right. Apparently, the Fans Toys has all kinds of problems with keeping his balance, but this is a hefty guy. I mean, he's huge. I mean, he's on my leg right now, and when I sit up straight, I mean, he's just big. But yeah, I love the color scheme. I like that he turns into a rocket ship. Very cool. You turn around the tank. Very cool face. Very cool face sculpt. Just a really tremendous, awesome character. And very hard to transform. Also, just very hefty on the shelf, too. But big guy. Very cool, though. I like this toy. He's one of my favorites. Okay, let me go ahead and put him up real quick, and then I'll bring out my Fancy Toys Constructicons. I'll show you some of them, and then I'll open up one, and I'll show you how it looks when you open up one of these masterpieces. If you haven't seen unboxing videos, but yeah, you see how he compares really well done, especially around the face. All right, hang on one sec. Okay, so which toy was more impressive, Omega Supreme or Devastator? Did you have any of these guys? Here again, the Constructicons, we had all these guys, and we formed Devastator. So we had both him and Omega Supreme. It was cool to fight them against each other, but Omega Supreme was way bigger than Devastator. Okay, so let me show you some of the Fancy Toys versions, and we'll open up Mixmaster over here as well. But here are my Fancy Toys Constructicons. Now, these guys are bigger than the X-Transbots. I mean, they're significantly bigger. And I'm going to use these guys to be my second Devastator. It's going to look better than the Toy World one, I think. But they're very hefty. This is Scrapper. A lot of great detail. I love the paint. I think he looks a little bit better than the DX9, but a lot of the DX9 characters look just as good, if not better than these guys. It's probably because these guys are just so big. I mean, they're huge compared to the other ones. But Scrapper's the leader, as we mentioned last night. He's the right leg of Devastator. It's him from the back. There's criticism with the Fancy Toys ones because their articulation is not as good as the DX9. And part of it, I think, is just Fancy Toys was going for the ability to combine and have more functionality with the combined robot. But here's Hook. Turns into a crane. Pretty cool figure. Scavenger. And if you can see, like right here is where the fist comes out and it'll connect to here. So Fancy Toys is going for an all-in-one for these guys. They look pretty cool, but you know, I'm gonna make them my Devastator. I just haven't had a chance to start combining them or transforming them because I kind of wanted to wait till I get them all, and then also they take forever to do. So I mean, it'll take me like almost a whole day to get all of them transformed and combined once I get the last one. And here's their long haul. He looks pretty cool. The dump truck. And you can see kind of the combiner kibbly back there that you can remove. I just haven't had a chance to do it yet. So pretty cool. And then I will show you the Mixmaster box and show you what it looks like to open up a Masterpiece Transformer right here on the show. So give me a sec here. So the beautiful box art, if you've never seen Fans Toys, they have to change the names because copyright law. There's the back. That's what he looks like with the others. Talks about him and says that Hadid is a mad chemist. His mind is consumed by chemical reactions, rare alloys, and material purity. He knows wars are not won by heroics, but by superior armor, weapons, and fortifications. For Hadid, domination begins at the molecular level. The result mode resembles a simple concrete mixer. It is, in fact, a sophisticated material processor central to the Herticon, which is the Decepticon version from Fans Toys. Ambitions of galactic rule. He breaks down raw inputs from rare earth minerals and metals to solar plasma to pouring stronger, lighter, and more resilient materials, deadlier energy sources, and wildly unstable exotic matters fit to fuel a galactic war. There's a little room in his thoughts for battlefield tactics or material glory. He even bristles at being forced to combine with his fellow Architecticons, because they can't call them Constructicons for copyright law, to form one of the most powerful weapons in the Herticon arsenal, the towering Gesalt Gigantus. What is victory on one battlefield compared to material creations that can shape wars across the stars? So that's all right there. Go. These boxes are really cool. The box art is amazing. And Comic Relief Crusader actually does some of the box art and helps out with X-Transbots. So if you like Transformers, check out his channel because he gives you sneak previews of what X-Transbot has coming up. So please be careful with one of these box cutters. All right. So not environmentally friendly, but they come in these styrofoam boxes. And then we have the tape around them. The styrofoam box front comes off. And kind of what it looks like in the box. So it comes with the arm drills for Devastator. That's pretty cool. Neat stuff. Do you guys like this? What do you guys think? Pull him out real quick. Blaster. And there's the version of Mixmaster right here. Pretty cool. Back. And then his weapon. Articulated fingers. Pretty cool. Anyway. Yeah, some of this other stuff is pretty cool and interesting. Like you know, I don't really unbox because I'm not really a Transformers channel, and you can find them, and they'll go more details about him. But that's what it looks like, and that's what it's like to unbox these masterpiece figures. There's a lot of stuff in here that helps you form Devastator, and he's a nicely painted figure. Look at that face sculpt. Pretty cool. All right. Let me do this. Let me put these guys up real quick. And we'll get back at it and we'll get you some more characters here. Did you guys like that? Seeing what it's like to unbox one of these figures? I hope you did. Back in a sec. All right. So Constructicons were in all three of the first three seasons of it, and they are vaguely in part of season 4. But it's kind of cool to see them and their impact. They were the first combiner, and I love that we made other combiners for them. All right. So, Starscream and the Combaticons. So, one of my favorite episodes is Starscream's Brigade, and it has a part 2, which is Revenge of Bruticus. So Starscream was always trying to betray Megatron, and Megatron finally got sick of him and kicked him to the curb. Starscream ends up on Guadalcanal, which if you guys have watched my World War II series specific, we went over Guadalcanal, the battle in there, and he finds Earth vehicles, and he discovers the stolen those vehicles, and he decides to go and find personality discs from Cybertron. So he goes to Cybertron. He steals the personality discs of Decepticon warriors that were imprisoned by Megatron. There's no real explanation in G1 why they were prisoners or the personality discs were stored away. But later incarnations and stories and comics and other media explain it in greater detail. Consult those. there's some interesting stuff. But Starscream basically discovers them and forms his own brigade, and they can transform into Bruticus. And so what he does is he has to steal. He gives them personality discs, but they don't have the ability to reproduce their own energon, so they have to steal it from Transformers. So they kidnap 2 Autobots, and then they take them from 2 other Decepticons. And Megatron starts to fight Starscream. Like I mentioned, he gets the Constructicons involved, and they form Devastator. And Starscream goes, "Hey, I was ready for this," and he forms Bruticus. And when they form Bruticus, Bruticus fights Devastators, and Bruticus devastates Devastator, and he beats up Devastator. And like I mentioned, the Stunticons are watching this from abroad. They decide to join the fray, and Metasaur just kind of cold cocks Bruticus and beats him up. And then Megatron gets Starscream and all of them, and he banishes them to an asteroid. And the Combaticons escape in part 2, and they basically take over Cybertron. So let's talk about these Combaticons. We had Swindle and we had Onslaught. We didn't have all of them. I had friends who had all of them. They're pretty cool characters. Onslaught was a strategist and leader. Brawl was the tank, and he was a heavy fighter and brute force. Blastoff was the space shuttle, an aerial assault specialist. Swindle is kind of he's a Jeep, and he's the opportunistic salesman, always looking for a deal. Vortex is an aerial fighter. He's a helicopter, an interrogator. Basically, they form Bruticus, who's not a very intelligent, but he's kind of the brute force. And at the end, Revenge of Bruticus, the Combaticons take over Cybertron. They basically beat up Shockwave, which is kind of cool. And the Autobots and Decepticons have to combine forces to do that. We discover that Starscream created a failsafe to hit the dots on his back. And if they hit the dots on his back, he'd be deactivated. So they fool the Autobots into doing that. And they do that, and he's deactivated, but he's not destroyed. And they save him for later. So the Combaticons and their main menaces turned out to be the Protectobots, who we'll talk about in a minute. The Combaticons return in Bot, which is the final episode of season 2. Swindle sells the other Combaticons for parts and later attempts to rebuild them after Megatron puts a bomb in his head. It was kind of funny. It shows how weird Swindle is, but it's kind of a throwaway episode. But anyway, these are the Combaticons. I don't have the individual Combaticons, and the reason why I don't have the individual Combaticons is I haven't decided on what I want to do. There's a group out there that looks pretty good, but there's 1 or 2 that don't look as great. Kind of waiting for either DX9 or X-Transbots or Fans Choice to go after the Combaticons. But this is what they look like. This is kind of the Revenge of Bruticus storyline here. And then I've got the combined form of Bruticus, which I'm going to bring out right now for you guys. I've got Zeta Bruticus. Now, I didn't buy 2 sets because I didn't think the bot versions of him are very good. There's a Magic Square one that's out there right now that I might get, and I'm debating it. The figures look okay, but there's 1 or 2 that don't look as great, and so I want a cohesive set that looks good. So let me go get Bruticus real quick. Oh. So this guy's another big boy. Big dude. Again, he's very tall. Sits on my leg. But huge. And Zeta came out with more modern type stuff, more modern helicopter, a more modern tank, and then a Hummer for the Jeep. But this is really cool. I use him as my Bruticus. He serves the function real well. He looks really cool. I think he matches up well with the cartoon. And I'll bring the cartoon back on. So I can compare. Pretty cool. All right, let me put him up, and then I'll bring up the Dinobots. Hit my glasses there. Hang on one sec. Okay, so one of his nemesis is Defensor, and you really don't get an origin story for the Projectobots. They just randomly show up in a couple of episodes towards the end of season 2. But here's what the toys look like. And my brother and I, we had the whole set. They were pretty cool. I always liked them. It was cool that we could form Defensor, and Defensor was pretty cool because he has a force shield. He's featured more prominently in season 3. But he did make his first appearance in season 2, so that's why I'll talk about him. So I've got the Magic Square version of these guys that look really good. Transbot has a version. I've got 4 out of the 5 of them, and I'm going to use them for my Defensor. The reason why I'm not using the Magic Square is that the Magic Square is significantly smaller in scale than the other ones, and I want my combiners to all be the same height relatively. And when you combine these guys, they're not as big. So the leader here is Hotspot. And he transforms into a fire truck. Beautiful paint on him. Looks pretty cool. Cleans up really well. Next, we got Groove, who turns into a police motorcycle. Kind of like Chips. Almost reminds me of the TV show Chips. He's the right leg. Left leg is Streetwise. He turns into a police car. Then you have Blades, who's a helicopter, fire rescue helicopter. I think he looks really cool. I like the light blue on his face. Pretty cool figure. And then you have the Pacifist, First Aid, and there's a couple episodes that we'll talk about in season 3 with First Aid. And here's First Aid. I love the red paint on him. He turns into an ambulance. So, anyway, those are the Projectobots. So, let you see them again on the toys, and then we're gonna get into Transformers lore and talk about the female Autobots and Elita One. Okay, moving right along. Hope you guys like that. Hope you guys liked all the combiners. A lot of cool combiners in this season. Can't wait for the season 3 combiners. I don't have any of them yet. I've got one figure, but they haven't made them yet, and I hope they make them soon. Here's more of the Protectobots. I thought this was a cool picture I found on the web. Pretty cool. All right, so Optimus Prime, Elita One, and Alpha Trion. So we talked about Wardon and how Alpha Trion basically remade Ariel into Elita One and Orion Pax into Optimus Prime. So there was a direct connection between the two. The search for Alpha Trion, we meet Elita One and the female Autobots, including Chromia, Firestar, and Moonracer. So see, that's Chromia, Firestar, Moonracer. They've continued resisting Shockwave's control over Cybertron. The episode reveals that Optimus Prime and Elita One knew each other before the war. Elita was originally Ariel. Optimus Prime was originally Orion Pax, as I mentioned. The connection gives Optimus a personal history beyond his role as commander. He has friendships, memories, and some people he deeply cares about. Alpha Trion rebuilt them both. So basically, in this episode, we get to meet them, and we get to see, these female Autobots fighting them, and none of them become part of the cast after this. RC joins in the movie, and she's the only female Autobot. We never find out what happens to the rest of these female Autobots. But Elita One has a special power. She uses it to fight against the Decepticons, but it drains her energy. And Optimus Prime tries to save her with Alpha Trion. And Alpha Trion says that they share a special bond and only he can save them. Now, they do combine, and you get a kind of please Elita kind of awkward thing that Optimus Prime does with the Elita One. You see it kind of here, but he's able to save her and revive her, and it's kind of cool. The Autobots return back to Earth, and the female Autobots continue to fight on Cybertron. So it's interesting. You don't have any masterpiece that I'm aware of any of the female Autobots except for RC, and I've got her. We'll show her on Thursday when I go over season 3. So it's interesting. Should Elita One have become a regular character? Which Optimus Prime figure best captures him? I don't know. It would have been interesting to see, or it would have been interesting to see a spinoff of that. And the comics did something recently with Elita One that I'm not sure that I like, but if you look it up, you'll find it. Not a huge fan of the modern iterations of these. So, all right. So we got some small characters with some big stories coming up. Season 2 gave us many smaller Autobots and gave them their own spotlight episodes. They may not have been physically large, but they often had some of the most memorable personalities. Beachcomber had the Golden Lagoon, and Beachcomber turns into a dune buggy. Let's do this. Let's show all these, and we'll talk about the Golden Lagoon here. So you have Cosmos, Perceptor, Warpath, Beachcomber, Seaspray, and Powerglide. And let me bring out all of their characters as I show you their toys. Okay. Who do we want to start with first? Well, I know somebody mentioned Perceptor earlier, so I'm going to show you my masterpiece Perceptor. It's the version 2 from Fans Toys. But I think he looks really awesome with his red paint. Here is Perceptor. And he turns into a microscope. Very valuable member of the team. He's prominent in several episodes in season 2 and season 3, and in the movie. Always thought his original toy was almost like a tank and a motor and a microscope as well. It's funny because he's got, see the treads? So he could shoot out of the microscope, but he was a scientist, more of a pacifist. We'll talk about a key episode that he's in. But the box for him shows the microscope, and you had to transform into robot mode. But this is Perceptor. Really cool red paint, really cool eyes. Pretty awesome. Both X-Transbots and Fans Toys have good versions of him. One of the figures that we had growing up, my brother and I, was Warpath. I always thought he was really cool. He's got a really pretty paint job. With blue eyes. Turns into a tank. See kind of the tank treads here. There's him from the back. And some of these guys are mini bots. So Perceptor was logged into mini bots, even though Perceptor's not a mini bot. And I'll talk about their personalities in a minute. Here's Powerglide. Now this Fans Toys version is unique because he does turn into a plane, which is a almost like the Cobra Rattler. It's a Warthog. It's a very thin plane, and it's interesting engineering, but his feet right there are very kibbly. And this is actually not the best Fans Toys release. I think DX9 has Richtofen. That's actually a better figure than this, but Richtofen's hard to find, and I was able to get the Fans Toys one. So. Beachcomber, he's the geologist who turns into a dune buggy. Pretty cool character. Solid blue-white scheme. Geologist, kind of a pacifist, wants peace. Very cool character. Seaspray, who basically turns into a hovercraft. This is the version 2.0 because the version 1.0 from Fans Toys is awful. There's another version, I think it's DX9 that put it out, that is actually really good, and I've got it as well. But this is Seaspray. We had him as a kid. I always thought he was a cool one. And finally, the Autobot that turns into a flying saucer, Cosmos. Beautiful paint on this guy. It's just gorgeous. Kind of see. Flying saucer mode. So, but yeah, these are the mini bots that we have. The mini bots and Perceptor. Perceptor's not a mini bot, but it's interesting how Transformers continued to have vehicles and figures in different sizes. And we're going to talk about some of their personalized episodes. So the Golden Lagoon is where Beachcomber tends to shine. Basically, he finds an electron pool, and it's very peaceful there. And the Decepticons end up finding it, and electron allows them to basically be impervious. And so the Decepticons take advantage of it, and they kind of tear up the environment around it. So it's kind of one of those environmental episodes in a way, with a small hint. The Autobots can't fight the Decepticons or hit them or kill them because they've got this gold armor. But Beachcomber gets captured, Seaspray gets captured, Perceptor gets captured, and they are able to break out of the Decepticon headquarters, head back to the Autobots, and the Autobots are able to find the Golden Lagoon and the Autobots coat themselves in the Golden Lagoon. The Decepticons realize this, and they decide to destroy the Golden Lagoon. And the Decepticons, the Golden Lagoon energon thing wears off, and they're vulnerable again, and so they retreat. And the Autobots won at what cost? And you see how the Golden Lagoon and the whole environment around it is torn up by war, and it's kind of an interesting story because it carries a lot of emotional weight with it. So, very cool episode, very interesting episode. The Girl Who Loved Powerglide. I didn't pull slides for this one because I couldn't find them. Powerglide receives a romantic adventure involving a human woman. She's confident, dramatic, and enjoys being the center of attention. So it's an unusual story that fits his personality. He's kind of the hotshot, and she kind of falls in love with him. And he's like, oh, but she's kind of a brat, and he takes care of her. He saves her, but he realizes it won't work. And it was kind of funny, and kind of caused him to humble himself a little bit. Sea Change, Seaspray falls in love with a woman from another world. They go off world and undergo the physical change. So when you dive down in the water, Seaspray becomes part merman, and he falls in love with her. And the end of the episode explores the idea of changing yourself for someone else. It's strange and additive, but surprisingly sincere. He decides not to stay with her. It's kind of like taking Splash and reversing it, where Seaspray is the mermaid, becomes the mermaid, but he decides he can't stay with her, and he's really an Autobot and a robot. So that was interesting. Warpath transforms into a tank, as I mentioned. There's the story, a Decepticon raider in King Arthur's court, where he and a couple of other Autobots follow some Decepticons back in time, and they end up in medieval England along with Spike. And basically, they have to get their way back, and it's magic versus science. It's an interesting episode, and Warpath has a joust with Ramjet, and it's kind of cool, kind of interesting, kind of unique there. Cosmos is like the 50s UFO that I mentioned. He's featured in several episodes. There's an episode where he gets this plant-like stuff on him, and he takes it to Earth, and they find out it's a rare robotic creature that's trying to find vegetation, and they have to find a way to both save it and not get killed in the process. And then Perceptor, he's got several of them, transforms into a microscope, and he has unique ones. There's one where Megatron gets the heart of Cybertron, and Perceptor figures out how to shrink himself, Brawn, and Bumblebee, and they go into Megatron's chest to pull out the heart of Cybertron to destroy it. It's an interesting episode. There's also the famous Cosmic Rust, where Megatron gets Metasaur to hold up that bug-like thing that causes cosmic rust to spread, and Perceptor invents Core Stop, a rub that cures everybody of it. So it's pretty cool. So those are cool episodes and cool things. But let me after we do this, let me put these guys up, and I'll bring out my triple changers real quick. And we're almost done, guys. So we'll talk about triple changers. 1 sec. Let me put these guys up. All right. So one of the unique play features that came out with season 2 was triple changers, and two of the most prominent ones were Decepticons, Astrotrain and Blitzwing. Astrotrain turns into both a train and a space shuttle and a robot, and Blitzwing becomes a MiG 29 and a tank and a robot. One of their key episodes is Triple Tankover, where they kind of overthrow Megatron and trick Starscream. Both triple changers, Blitzwing, and Astrotrain try to rule and try and set up bases. They get the Constructicons to help them, but Megatron and Starscream are freed from an ice prison, and they go to stop them. And basically, Megatron kicks their butts, and it's just glorious. It's a lot of fun. Love both these characters. Both of them that I've got are fans toys, and I think they've got beautiful paint. We had both of them as kids. Two of my favorite characters. Megatron Master Plan is another episode where he uses fear and opinion to reject the humans, and I'll talk about that one in a minute. But let me talk about these two. They're pretty awesome. This is what they look like with the cartoon. This is their various modes. Here's Blitzwing, and let me bring up Blitzwing now. There are 3 different versions of him. There's the DX9 version. Actually, there are 4 versions of him, but I think the Fans Toys is my favorite, and that's why I got it. So I had him as a kid. He was so awesome, turning into a tank, into a jet. Very cool. But this is Blitzwing. He's just got gorgeous paint. I love the yellow and the purple. Cleans up really well in back. Yeah, he's awesome. Looks just like the cartoon. And then we've got Astrotrain. Then we got Astrotrain. This is what his toy looked like. And here's Astrotrain. Pretty cool figures. Some of my favorites. Okay, let's wrap up with a few more episodes really quick. I mentioned Megatron's master plan. Basically, he basically uses a politician to go against the Autobots. And let me bring up the slides here. And basically, the Autobots get kicked off of Earth. They find out they were tricked and come back, and Megatron's defeated. But it was kind of interesting how humans go and support Megatron. Enter the Nightbird is another one where a human scientist creates a ninja robot. The Decepticons capture her and have them go after the Autobots. The Autobots are able to disable her. It's pretty cool. She only appears in this one episode, but she's pretty badass. I like her. She's really cool. A ninja robot. Another popular one, and this one's kind of a crazy one. It just showed all the weird sides of Transformers Crimzeek, where Megatron creates an electronic creature called Crimzeek, and he basically sucks the energy out of robots and out of everything. And he's like this annoying bug who you hear him go, Crimzeek, Crimzeek. Anyway, so the Autobots chase him all over the world, all over the United States and into Japan. And then finally they funnel him back to the Decepticons. And they're finally able to short him out, only to find that one little guy's left. And it's just kind of crazy. I mentioned Child's Play. It's where they go to that planet where it's a child that's that's bigger than any of the robots that uses them as toys. There's Decepticon Raider and King Arthur's Court. I already mentioned that, which is interesting. They're interesting episodes. They may not all be masterpiece, but they were part of Transformers lore. What's the strangest episode of season 2? Let me know in the comments below. And then our final figures tonight are what we call the Coneheads, Ramjet, Dirge, and Thrust. Here's kind of what they look like. And I'll show them to you really quick. These guys are older design, so they don't stand up as well. So, Dirge. Ramjet, who part of his missile fell off. And Thrust. So I can't wait to get newer versions of these guys. They're a little bit kibbly. But I do have the representation of them. And they did come out in season 2. So anyway, asked in the poll what was the best season and what's your favorite episode of season 2. War Dawn is my favorite. Key to Victor, Sigma Parts 1 and 2 are some of my favorites. Revenge of Bruticus and Starscream Brigade. My Secret Omega Supreme is up there. Search for Alpha Trion is great. Those are probably my tops in season 2. But what are your favorites? Let me know in the comments. Let's end the poll here and see what we've got. All right, so the final results of the poll. Best season is G1 Transformers cartoon. 70% season 1. 30% say season 2. Nobody says season 3 or season 4. So, interesting stuff. Anyway, let me know what you guys thought. Leave comments below. Tell me what's your favorite figure of mine that I showed you here. What's your favorite figure from your childhood? What do you guys think? Are you guys masterpiece collector? If there's anyone that you could have again that you had as a kid, which one would it be? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing part of my collection and talking about some of these episodes. I know we didn't go into huge detail on all of them, but I wanted to keep this about 2 hours stream, just so that it's, kept your attention and then kept you interested. Hope you really enjoyed it. Thank you so much. Tomorrow night, I'll be on Doomcock's channel. We're going to discuss Spider-Man movie and give our reviews of that. We're also going to talk about the movie of the week, which is called The Player, which is an interesting film. So that's tomorrow night at 7 o'clock on Overlord DVD's channel. And then on Thursday night, I'll be back. I don't know the time yet, but I'll let you guys know. And I'll be on for season 3 and season 4. Then on Saturday, on the anniversary of the 40th anniversary of Transformers, the movie, I'll go over the whole movie that afternoon. And then Sunday, we got coming up, Heather will be back, and we're going to do Master of the Air episodes 5 and 6. So we get 2 episodes of that. So lots of live streams this week for me. It's kind of my big push. Got about 325 more watch hours to get back into position to get monetized. So let me know. Wes Cagle says Shockwave and Soundwave with cassettes. Yes. And then he put in Overlord DVD's channel. Yes, subscribe to Doomcock if you're not already subscribed there. So, folks, thank you so much for joining me here. Appreciate all your support. Appreciate all your comments below. Everybody take care. Have a great evening. Night.